Welcome to Dog on the Plot. I'm on the plot, the dog is here, we've just arrived, and unfortunately, as we were walking down, I could see that the sky was looking particularly menacing, and indeed, as soon as I've got here to start doing some work, it started to rain, and in fact, I'm going to need to move under the shelter a little bit more. Well, speaking of weather, this week was the first proper frost. We had that light one in mid-September, which affected some of the foliage on the pumpkins on the plot, but otherwise was fine. The nasturtiums were fine. Nasturtiums are the thing that I go by. Once the nasturtiums get killed off, you know you've had a proper frost. Now, everything in the home garden looks fine, but the home garden's much more sheltered. It's got its own little microclimate going. But here on the plot, it's incredibly open, and yeah, the nasturtiums have succumbed. Yeah, even the amaranth isn't looking too good. I want to try and save some seed of the amaranth. So we'll check on those, but we also need to check on the pumpkins because, of course, I didn't harvest the pumpkins. They were still on the plot. So we need to see if they've been affected by the frost. If mine have, so have everybody else's on the plot. Nobody had harvested their pumpkins. As I was walking Dory up and down before I started filming, we could see everybody's pumpkins were still out and about, weren't they, Dory? So we'll have a check of those. And then the main thing I'm down here to do is a little bit of clearing, although it's not the best weather for it. But I would really like to clear out all that tomato foliage, get rid of that and free up those 4 beds. And also I could take all the courgettes out and free up some space there. And I do need to free up some space because I've arrived with a bootload of plants. And I'm not even sure what they are because these are the plants that got all messed up when the flimsy in the home garden blew over and all the plants fell out onto the floor. So I know there's some mixtures of beetroots and spinaches and there's definitely loads of brassicas, but we need to have a little look through and see what we've got. Having said that about the nasturtiums, these ones underneath the bean arches are actually still looking okay. They might recover because we aren't due really cold temperatures after today. So from next week onwards, it's getting warmer again. It's over 10 degrees at night again. So I'm really hoping that there's still time left in the season for some more ripening. I've still got the tomatoes in the greenhouse here and tomatoes in the greenhouse at home, along with the chilies. Speaking of which, I am dehydrating some chilies at home while we're here down the plot. So we'll check on those when we get back as well. And the other big thing for this weekend is that it's payday on the plot. Now, I know fees have gone up. I'm not sure by how much, so it'll be interesting to see. That'll be tomorrow. And when you pay up here, you also put your King Seed order in. So I was up fairly early this morning looking through the catalogue and making my final decisions. So I'll give you a little sneak peek into some of the things that I'll be purchasing. Okay, Dory, the rain seems to have stopped. Are you ready to do some work? Oh, yes, it looks like you are. Go on then. Okay, right, let's go check on these tomatoes. Before we get to the tomatoes, we should probably address the fact that there is an enormous greenhouse on the plot now. If you managed to watch to the end of last week's episode, you will have seen a flash of this on the plot, but yeah, it didn't just appear here by magic. It was quite a job. We roped in quite a few people to help us, so we had to get it down from almost the other side of the allotment site. We took all the glass out and brought that up on the door, so it was just the frame, but it's a 10 by 8 greenhouse, so it's a pretty significant thing to move as a whole piece. And we took it down here. I'm afraid my aunt was in charge of filming, and she will not be in charge again.
Mom, what?
That's it, because Kerry's doing nothing either at the back. It's your gloves, Sam.
But we had to bring it all the way down the plot, and then when we got to the front of the plot, of course it's really hard to get anything over all the structures that we've got in place. So Mark's polytunnel there, his runner bean structures, then we've got my arches and the beds.
and we couldn't really work out how to get it from the path onto the plot. And in the end, bless him, Mark took down some of his runner bean structures, and we were able to bring it over the post at the front of his plot, then across his brassica cage, and finally onto the pumpkin bed here.
Oh my goodness. Woohoo!
I mean, I don't know if it's going to stay here. I haven't really thought through exactly what I'm doing with this greenhouse and where it might go on the plot. So I don't think any decisions need to be made on that too soon either. But for the time being, it's okay here. Right then, tomatoes. Well, yeah, they're definitely done, aren't they? There's not much salvageable there. What wasn't already blighted has now been frosted. So yeah, and all of the tomatoes that I left in here, none are any good, no. Actually though, these onions are just starting to get going. Well, about time. These onions have been so slugged and they're only just starting to put out the shoots. Well, that's one of the beds that I was planning on clearing. So, we might have to work around that. Let's have a look at the pumpkins. Well, they're still here. Yeah. So it gets this kind of mottling on the skin. And this happened with a couple last year that got lightly frosted. And it seemed to make no difference whatsoever to their storage. I really thought that it would, but it didn't. So I'm not too worried about that one. Let's have a look at the goosebumps. It's not as easy to tell on this kind of skin, I don't think, but I don't know. I mean, they look all right to me. Dory, what you got? A radish? Who knew you liked radishes? Really like it. Not spicy. Maybe we have to Google if dogs can eat radishes, Dory. So the foliage of the tromboncino is all pretty dead now, and these little ones that had the blossom end rot, yeah, they're going to be no good. But the foliage dying has revealed another tromboncino. I did not know that one was there, a good size one, and it looks okay. The skin has gone a little bit sort of green and a little bit translucenty, which I think is the frost damage. I've also got the beans here, and they're just drying on the pods. Well, they're not very dry yet, but I don't know what beans they are, so I don't know whether they're an eating bean or a drying bean. So I'm going for drying because you can do that one either way. Let's check the other arch. So this tromboncino looks the same. It's gone very limey green and a little bit translucent, but I mean, it still feels really firm. And then there's the one over here. And this one, yeah, same again. This is the biggest and the straightest, but hopefully it'll be okay. And then we've got one sugar pie around here. So this is the sugar pie pumpkin, and yeah, that looks okay. It's getting a little bit orange on the bottom there, but the stalk has gone brown and dry, which would suggest it's ready to pick, but I thought it should be orange. I'll have a Google and then come back to that. Right, then we have good news and bad news. The good news is dogs can eat radish. The bad news is that, yeah, the sugar pie pumpkins should be orange. So we'll leave those for a little bit longer. And now I'm going to get on with these beds. Okay, operation clear. Wow, that's a blighted tomato. You don't want to eat that. People will think I don't feed you, won't they? Eh? Right, we have cleared these beds. Only they're not that clear because we've got a couple of calendula here, we've got a borage over there, a couple of nasturtiums that still seem half alive, and we've got onions here, here, and here. So I clearly had a lot of onions that went in, did not grow, kept getting slugged, and have now decided to give it another go. Whether they will come to anything or not, I don't know. But what I did find that's pretty exciting, once the tree spinach was gone, there were 2 lettuces behind that. And I don't think they're lettuce actually, I think they're chicory. That's what the sign says, if I can just see it there, and I'm pretty sure that's where I put the chicory. Now, I hope they are, I don't know because I've never grown chicory successfully before. But if they are, I'm well chuffed. Okay, on a bit of a roll now. So another bed I thought we could clear would be the sweetcorn bed. So the sweetcorn is very much done. There are no cobs left on there. What is in here is some fennel, so that's quite exciting. I remember putting that in and then somebody commented and say you really shouldn't mix fennel with, I think, literally any other crop, but nevertheless it's in here. There's also another sugar pie pumpkin which is also still green, but all of this can come out now, and this is good because this is my brassica stuff, so I can put more brassicas in here and then probably extend a netting all the way across. Good plan. Okay, I think I'm going to need the loppers for this one. Is it weird that it feels almost as satisfying doing this clearing as it did doing the harvesting last week? But speaking of harvesting, there were some cobs on there. I don't think there'll be much in there, but there's some sweet corn. Well, who knew? I don't know if it'll be a bit tough, but yeah, okay, well, we'll take it home. Let's see if any of the others have got, no, these feel very small. These are like baby corn. No, nothing in there. Oh, no, just one, but that's a nice surprise. Now, my final thing to clear was these courgettes. I took a couple off. They've been touched by frost, but they're still firm, so I figure I can eat them. But there are some babies on, and they look all right. They don't look frosted. I'm tempted just to leave these for a while. Plus, I'm not sure I've got the energy to tackle these beds. These 2 in particular are full of grass. Oh, I don't think I had cardboard for those ones at the time. These did, and you can see these have got so much less grass than these ones. Isn't that Taunton Dean kale doing well? Wow, to think how pigeoned it was, and it's come back and the fresh leaves look absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely stunning. Oh, maybe we'll harvest a little bit of that and take that home. Oh, my melons are over. Well, we didn't think we were going to get a melon, but we're definitely not going to get one now. Speaking of grass in beds, there's grass coming up in the brassica cage now. Can I be bothered to get in there and weed today? Oh, let's look at the gem corn. Clearly I'm not going to weed. It's going a little bit brittle because I'm guessing it's reaching the end of its life cycle. And there are cobs on here, but they're not huge. Let's have a little look inside. No, they're still just pale little kernels. And that one. What about this one? Ah, now that one is just starting to go a little bit blue. Oh, let me show you. Can you see in there that the colour is just changing? It doesn't look very good because this is one that I've ripped open. That there's woodlouse in there as well. Come on out, little woodlouse. Go on the grass instead. There we go. But yeah, we might get there. But I don't think we'll be holding our breath. Right, what was the other thing I was going to check on? Oh, the Cape gooseberries, because they don't like the cold weather. Yeah, a little droopy. Yeah, the tops have definitely caught the frost. But underneath, where the fruits are, it might be okay. Yeah, they're certainly not dead yet. But we really do need these fruits to start ripening. And what I might do is take some of this tree spinach down so that I can properly get in there and look for the fruits. Just look at these Rebecca though. How lovely is that in mid-October? Oh. Right, I've laid a little pathway through now so I can get all the way to the end of the Cape gooseberries and I can look underneath to see if we've got anything to harvest. Watch now that I've done all that and there's actually nothing under here at all. Oh, okay. Well, there's one, but it's over. And that one's over. You have to really catch these at the right time. Yeah, they're all over, all mouldy. Ugh. Oh, there's one. That could be promising. No, mouldy. Oh man. Mouldy, mouldy, mouldy. They're either mouldy or still green. Where's the perfectly ripe ones? Oh, one over there. Yeah! Oh, that's a lovely one. Oh, well, that's a little bit nicer from when we started. Both in terms of the sunshine, but also the plot. That was good. That was good, Tori. We've done well there. We've got a little harvest as well. We've got the sweet corn, the couple of very tiny courgettes, and I picked up some Cavolo Nero as well. What we should do is look at the tomatoes in the greenhouse. I don't know that we're going to get much planting out done today. We might have to save that till tomorrow, but definitely need to get it all out of the car and stored somewhere. And we can perhaps have a look through and see what it is that we've got to plant. Hey, Dory, I don't know how many tomatoes you ate. Perhaps I'm going to have to Google dogs and tomatoes now, but I see tomatoes at that. What do you like, hey? What do you like? Dirty beard as well. Oh, you know what I've just spotted while I'm sitting here? We've got sunflowers. Oh, well, let's go have a look at the sunflowers. In fact, we've got a cosmos here as well, so that's nice. The cosmos took a long while this year, but it did finally make it. Right, let's go look at these sunflowers. Oh, and we should check if there's any raspberries as well. See them? Oh, you also took your time, but aren't you glorious? Oh, we need the sun to come back out and make you glow. These tomatillos seem to be done for. They were not being protected by tree spinach. Oh, there's one raspberry. Oh, okay. Yum, yum, yum. Okay. Oh, how did my glove get down there? Right, that ended up being a short tea break, but I think we should probably get the stuff out the car. Let's do that. Right then. Well, the one I know for sure is this one because I bought it from the garden centre earlier this week. This is cabbage red ball, and I don't know, the plant just looked so healthy. It was reduced to £2 and they're quite big cells, they're quite big little plants. So I thought, yeah, let's go for it, since I don't seem to have much luck with cabbage, with the exception of tree cabbage. And, you know, I potted some of these up and took them to Malvern. These were the slightly raggier ones. These aren't too bad in the individual pots, and they were in individual pots originally anyway, because some of my plot neighbours want these. So they, I know, are tree cabbage. Not those two though. Those are Calabrese, yeah. And these are Calabrese, I believe. Oh, that's what the label says. What about these ones though? Oh, Romanesco. I mean, it could be, as I said, these all fell out their trays. So it was a bit of a crapshoot, as they say. This one, what have we got here? Oh, purple sprouting broccoli and Cavallonero. That's definitely Cavallonero. You can see that. And actually, I need to take one of these out and give to Mom because she's desperate for some Cavallonero in the garden. What about these then? Oh, these don't look too good at all. Cauliflower cheesy and Calabrese marathon. Why have I got that many broccolis? That's a little bit excessive, isn't it? And then these, of course, are, well, they're beetroot, but they're also spinach, and these have got all mixed up. But I don't know what varieties of beetroot they are now. And there looks like a tree spinach in there as well, of course. Yeah, okay, well that's fairly straightforward, I think. Just where they're all going to go now. So these are mostly for other people. These, some can go in the sweet corn, the bed, or maybe we'll put the Romanescos in there. Yeah, let's do that. And then I'm thinking the beetroot mostly in where the tomatoes were. But for now, they can be sheltered by this greenhouse with no glass in. Okay, and just as I was about to give up, here comes the cousin. Well, an hour of chit-chat later and wandering around the site, and the wind has got up, so I think I'm going to call it a day for now. So yeah, tomorrow back on the plot, payday. It's been a while since we've been in the greenhouse in the dark. I hope this light's not too glaring on the video. But this is about the only time I've had this week to come back to you. So it's now Wednesday evening. I've just finished teaching my MA class and I've got my dinner on. But I thought I'd nip out into the greenhouse to catch up a little bit because I can be out here in the greenhouse this evening because it's currently 17.8 degrees Celsius in the greenhouse. It has been unseasonably warm today. And actually, it's been beautiful. It's like this perfect moment in early autumn where you've still got most of the summer colour is out, but you've now also got the turning of the leaves and the autumn colour, and they're kind of brought together, and the garden just looks absolutely stunning. So I took lots of footage earlier today. I grabbed a few moments during my lunch break. The Acer in particular, the Acer is so glorious at this time of year, and it's so fleeting. Like in a week's time, all of that orange will be gone, but at the moment it's just a blaze right at the front of the garden. And my other Acer, my red one, is starting to turn as well, and it has this lovely fiery red to it. But there are other things in the garden, like the blueberries. The leaves are changing on that, and they are the most beautiful colours, and still so many of the flowers going as well. The little hanging baskets that I made with the cyclamen and the violas are really beautiful. So yes, it seemed like a pretty perfect day. You know, you've got this warmth, you've got all that summer colour still, and yet it's felt very autumnal at the same time. It's been pretty magical. Unfortunately, that was just today, and I worked all day. But prior to that, we've had pretty bad weather. We've had a lot of rain. It's been a bit cold. So I have been up and down the plot, but I haven't done an awful lot. So all the things that I have to put out, the brassicas, the beetroot, the spinach, it's all still there to be put out. And I have moved it from the greenhouse frame because I was thinking actually it'd probably get quite slugged there. So I have moved it up to hopefully protect it. And the other thing that I did while I was down there is all the foliage from the main crop potatoes had died off from the frost that we had. So I cut that back, and I have mulched the top of the buckets with the rabbit bedding to protect the potatoes that are in the buckets. So I did get that done. And of course the other thing was finding out how much my plot is for this year. So I dug out my receipt from last year so we can do a little comparison. And last year I paid for my full-size plot, which I have not measured. Meant to do that. If I get to do that before this goes out, I'll put it on the screen. But it's considered, for our site anyway, a full-sized plot. And last year I paid £26.30 for the year. And this year I can confirm it has gone up, but only by 5%. So it was £27.62, which I think you'll agree is an absolute bargain for that amount of growing space, of that amount of land to grow on. There's also always a £5 subscription to the National Allotment Society. Dory! Right. Barky dog is joining us now. Ew, there was a slug on you, Dory. Oh, it's still on me. Oh, now it's in that pepper. Anyway, what was I saying? There is always a £5 fee on top, which is for your membership of the National Allotment Society. But the benefit of that is not only like your insurance on the plot, but it's that you get to get the members' catalogue of King Seed, where you get very discounted seeds. And when you pay for your plot, you also tend to put in your order for King Seed. Can I put you down now? Are you going to bark? Give me that innocent look. Oh, off you go. So now I haven't got my receipt from this for last year, but I can tell you that I spent a lot and I've been much more restrained this year because I went through all my folders. So, you know, I have all the seeds in the little plastic folders. I went through all of those and assessed what I actually needed. And I did my order and it came to £20, which I was like, wow. Just £20. Then I added another £10 of stuff on it. So I have got more than I need. But I started well, and I haven't gone mad. In fact, I only ordered 4 packets of flower seeds, including this phlox that is called creme brulee. Can you see that? I really liked that. But everything else, I don't think I got anything on the... I'm not getting onions and garlic because I'm going to do onions from seed. I've got my garlic that's saved garlic. That'll be going in fairly soon. And I don't get my potatoes from King Seed because I like to get that from the local nursery. So everything else was vegetable seeds, the majority of which were pumpkins. So if you are a regular viewer, you will know that I had a bit of a mare this year with my pumpkins, and you may also know that the very only reason, or the original reason for getting my plot was because I wanted a lot of space to grow pumpkins, and I couldn't do that in the home garden. And I've been very disappointed. We haven't done the pumpkin harvest yet. I'm hoping there'll be something from it, but certainly there are not the 60 pumpkins that I harvested last year. Yes, I am bitter, but these things happen. We have years like this. I'm now going to plan forward to next year when I want to grow all the squash. So I have ordered Crown Prince. So I think I've got one Crown Prince this year. I have gone for Buttercup, which is this little green one. There we go. And I've gone for Little Gem Roulette, which is a recommendation from Dora at Dora's Allotment. And I have gone for a Chikikuri, which we know is the best pumpkin. And I have none of them this year, none of them. And I don't have an awful lot of seed because the mice ate all the seeds. Then I had to re-sow. Then the slugs ate all those ones. I have been given a few bits and pieces, and I've picked up some bits and pieces over the year. So this is not the only pumpkins and squash that I'll be growing, but these are the new ones from King Seed. The last one, I think, is Sweet Dumpling, which is that one. That was it. So there you go. I've shared my pumpkins. I got a few other bits. Got some carrots. I'm forcing carrots, which again had no success with this year. So we'll be trying again. Okay, and yeah, quite a lot of other stuff, but I'll keep that secret. Not secret. I don't know why I said it like that. I'll keep that to myself for now, because we'll do an unboxing when the delivery comes in the new year. So what do you think? Is that a reasonable price to pay for my allotment plot? What was it? $27.62. I think that's pretty reasonable, especially when you hear these stories of some of the prices of allotment plots in like London and places like that. And to think included within that is the water. And in fact, it's the water that's been putting the price up. But I mean, 5% is not a lot really. Although I was thinking there used to be a 10% reduction on your fee if you paid in October. It was the early bird rate. So if you were used to that, so you would get 10% off, and now you've got 5% on, that's a 15% difference than you're used to paying. So maybe to some of the people on our site, it would feel like it's gone up quite a lot. But yeah, I don't think you can complain. From May to November, the water is on. We've got access to that. It's a very secure site. It's maintained quite well. And yeah, it's a nice site. The people are really nice. Yeah, nothing to complain about. Well worth the money. There's a slug there. There's a slug there. There's a slug there. And there's a slug there. There's a lot going on in this greenhouse still. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tomato plants still going, and I'm still getting ripe tomatoes from them. You can see them turning there. And we've got loads of the chili and peppers and the aubergines. They're all still going. They're still ripening. This warm weather that we've just started to have is set to continue. And actually, when we had the frost, I brought a lot of the frost tender plants into here as well to protect them. But they've all gone back out now, and I think they'll be fine out for at least the next week. So my hope is when we come back together next time, it'll be a lot more ripening will have happened, so we'll still be harvesting. And of course, we've got the pumpkins to harvest because we'll be coming up to Halloween then. But in the meantime, do take care. Thank you for watching, and yeah, see you in a week or so.